All right, everybody. You know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. Bam! We're here. You're watching the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. We thank God for those of you who are tuned in to join us here. I especially thank you. Yeah, that's you who are watching us on the replay, on Periscope, on demand on YouTube, also on demand on Roku as well. We thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Well, as always, there's been lots of stuff going on in the world of sports, and we're going to get right to it here. As you know, I have the pleasure of co-hosting one of the most beautiful women on radio or on TV in the way of sports. We simply know her here as the Queen, Miss Tree Dolman. Welcome back to the show.
Hello. It's so good seeing you, and thank you so much, Jonathan.
Amen. So it is good to be here. Good to see you and your smiling face. My understanding is that last week you traveled home. Is that right? Did I get that right?
That is correct. I was at home with my family in Detroit. What up, though, to all my Detroiters? And it was so great to be home and just see the beautiful scenery downtown and see wonderful friends and family. It was great being home.
Yeah, so it's always good to go home. Always good to see family, see friends. Especially, we've been dealing with this pandemic and all the stuff going on with that, and so to be able to actually see people face to face, it must have been like really cool.
It was really cool, and I'm very cautious, so I was probably like the only person still wearing a mask, which is fine. I've never been one to do what everybody else is doing, but I just thought it was funny because I'm still being cautious, even though I went home and it was like, oh yeah. But it was really nice, and with the pandemic, it did stop me from going home for a while, and so my family was very happy to see me, and I was very happy to see my family.
I know that's right. I know everybody was excited to see you, and again, because we've all been kind of dealing with that, being away from our family members, not being able to get close to them, and so to be able to, even with a mask, give somebody like a little, even kind of like that. We do a church a side hug. Doesn't matter because it's just that closeness with people. You can't duplicate that. I don't care how many Zoom broadcasts you got, and of course, those of you who are watching us, we do a Zoom-like broadcast. We can't call it Zoom because the actual people, I'm going to give them a shout out. StreamYard is the actual software we use to broadcast this, and they do a great job. As you can see, they allow us to put our logo and things up and all that kind of good stuff. So, again, big shout out to them. But, yeah, it's not the same as being mano a mano or romano to woman up close and personal. So, yeah, I'm glad you're able to get home and enjoy yourself for the weekend. Now, me, the minister, I was once again out on the streets, out and about. Got a chance to see the Harlem Globetrotters.
Ooh.
Yes, got a chance to cover them. And I'm looking for my shades because they were just must-see TV. It really pretty much is what we always expect from them. And I have the special shades today. I have the aviators today.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about.
Glasses.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, so at the end of the day, the Globetrotters, again, were must-see TV. They were just sensational. If you guys want to take a look, go and check out our Instagram page. Let me pop it up here so you guys can see it. Hopefully it's it because I can't see it to go without my glasses. I have to put the other ones on, but that's okay. I know y'all laughing. Okay, let's see if I can put it up here. No, you won't see it there. Okay, follow us on at Real Talk Sports 7, and that's where you'll see it. There it is, at Real Talk Sports 7. You'll see it there, guys. You see my big fingers all on the camera. Sorry about that, but you'll see it right down there. And go onto our Instagram page, and you will, in fact, see some of the highlights and some of the comedy of what was going on there. And we're going to have these stuff posted up more and more as time goes on.
Speaking How cool is that? Did you get to do any tricks with them?
No.
No?
No.
I know I played in a celebrity golf tournament and a celebrity basketball game, and I can't remember his name. Oh, my goodness. He's my favorite Globetrotter, and he was doing the trick on my hand where he
Okay.
spins the ball and he was moving
Oh, for
it
real?
from this finger to this finger and doing all, and he showed me how to do some of this stuff. It was so cool because I was like, ooh, how do you do this?
Well, see, here's what happened. Number one, you already have some natural basketball skills, being a outstanding player yourself, both in basketball and volleyball. So you got some skills. And number two, you're very beautiful. Unlike me, imagine me on camera, the minister trying to hands going this way, and they're like, "Man, put that OG sit down somewhere." So I didn't. I'm glad they didn't grab me. Okay, let's go ahead to social media here, and there's our man, Media Jansen. So I want to give a big shout out to this young man here. Now I've joked from time to time for people who know me that I said that guy's going to be my replacement on the Real Talk Sports Show, because he's actually he reminds me of a much younger version of myself. Very articulate young man. Does a great series of online sports shows and podcasts. So look out for him, Mr. Yeah, just a great guy. Yeah, great young man doing some great stuff. Yep.
So he's posting the fire emojis. We need to put the fire emojis for him.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, check them out. And hey, Jansen Harris, if you're still out there watching, post up on put a comment on social media where people can follow you. And really, he's got a great name for his show, the Just Good Network.
Ooh,
because yep.
I like that.
Yep, because a lot like ourselves, he doesn't really get into too much throwing shade. I mean, he's going to hit you between the eyes with some good stuff. But follow them. They have a page on Facebook, Just Good Network. They're also on Instagram, and he himself also is now trying to move into that status as being a producer. He's got some great on-air correspondence that he's kind of giving some tutelage with. So Jansen Harris does great stuff there. Matter of fact, even for a while there, he had brought his significant other on and was doing some great stuff with her. Now I don't want to put all your business out, brother, but that was kind of funny having you and her on. Anyway, Jansen Harris, great guy. The Just Good Network. Check them out. And again, doing some great stuff there. Well, as always, Tree, always like every weekend, there's something going on in the world of sports that creating a little controversy. So I want to kind of touch base with this here. The Olympics, what is going on for the United States in the Olympics? Because it really has seemed to be, I'm not going to use a bad word, but it's been a cluster so far. The men losing 2 exhibitions and then losing their opening round game to France. I think it was one of their first losses in the Olympics since, 2012. And then the shocker of shockers today, Simone Biles, probably one of the greatest gymnasts in world history, suddenly says to her teammates, "I'm not going to go on."
Yeah.
What kind of your thoughts when you heard that? And just what are your thoughts?
I have to do a little more research, but from my initial thoughts, which I do have to say, I've been doing my code count. So I see that I've missed a lot and I have to get caught up. But I did see where she said that she was having problems with her mental health, and that's the reason that she withdrew. Is that what you saw as well?
Yeah, so that's what she's saying, and I'm always trying to be real careful here because I'm much older than you and most of our viewers that come on, so I don't want to be like that guy. When I was a kid, when you go in the barbershop, there was always the old guys. Now I'm in that stage, the OGs. That they were mad all the time. Like everything was better in their day. Like you're soft. You guys can't handle anything. But the realities is that's kind of the take I have on this. Don't get me wrong. I've had to deal with those issues myself personally. I've had counseling many years ago. I know people have had counseling. So, friends, neighbors, I get it. I mean, mental health is very, very important when we see every single day how we are having a growing problem with that in our nation. So many homeless people really are homeless because they have mental issues and they become actually a danger to themselves and others. So I'm not trying to in any way diminish that. However, what I have seen over the last, 10 to 20 years, but especially the last 5 or 10 years, has really been kind of softening up of the mental tenacity of Americans in general and American athletes specifically. It's just, and I don't like to use buzzwords, but there seems to be almost this entitlement and expectation that the world has to revolve around you. And I don't know. Like I said, I've never played a minute of any type of high school or college or professional ball. But when I see people like yourself, when I see people like Tyrone, it seems like the reason why you guys got to where you got to was because you were willing to sacrifice. Now, again, you don't want to put yourself in unnecessary harm's way, but it seems like you guys are willing to pay the price to sacrifice to you know try to achieve a championship. Am I misreading this? Am I putting too much into it, or what do you think?
No, I don't think that you are, because you are right. When we look at the overall athlete and how we were when we were coming up, and these new, well, I like to call them the new generation athletes, you're right. They are soft. My husband said it. I've said it. Tyrone has said it. You'll see a lot of athletes who will say that, because you're right. They do have a sense of entitlement. Even when the teams that I was coaching, some of them thought all they had to do was just show up and they were going to win. It doesn't work that way. You have to put in the hard work, and you have to be willing to sacrifice going to the movies with your friends, going out, and you need to get in the gym and get better. And you don't really see, there are some athletes that still do that, but you don't see enough of them that do that. When it comes to the mental health aspect of being an athlete, though, I do think that there's also a difference. And I say, yes, some of them are softer, but I do also realize that now they have social media that wasn't in existence back when I was playing, and not until recently. So you have people that have more access to them when people didn't have access to us when we were playing. And I think that that does make a difference in a lot of what these athletes are going through. At the same token, I also think that a lot of these athletes need to learn how to use the block button and the delete button, because you're always going to get people on your page that are going to be negative. It doesn't matter how great you are. It doesn't matter how great your hair is. People are going to say something good or bad. It doesn't matter what color of your skin. People are going to say something good or bad. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are. People are going to say something good or bad. One thing that I've learned a long, long time ago is that you can never please people. So therefore, I don't try. I live my life to please God. I live my life to please my husband. I live my life to please myself. As long as we're happy, I'm good. And so I don't try to please other people, because that's something that you will never accomplish. You will always fail when you try to please others. So just please God and yourself, and then you don't have to worry about other people. And make sure that you use that block and delete button on all social media, because negativity loves negativity. So they come to people's pages just trying to ruin their day. And when you allow them to do so, they're winning. So never let them win and control you and how you feel.
Yeah, so I put the question out here that we just asked. You guys can chime in. Are today's athletes too soft? Do you think they are? They don't have the mental fortitude, and to some degree, the intentional fortitude that we had in days past. I'll give you guys a chance to log on and answer this again. There it is, right there. You see, that's our question on social media. Are today's athletes too soft? That is the question. And really, it's like this. This is why I said this. It's not a matter that, again, I don't want to try to be the old guy on the barbershop where like everything was better in the old days. But the realities is that even us, I mean, in comparison to what previous generations went through on the football field, the basketball field, we didn't have to go through some of the physical punishment that they went through. But the other thing I think that we've neglected, all these gurus and what do you want to call them? These motivational speakers, they all talk about in embracing the process and trusting the process and being willing to grind. And all that stuff is true, but I'm not sure how this translates today, especially when a lot of people are looking to seem to get instant recognition. And it seems the other thing too is that as soon as things get tough, everybody wants to say, oh, that's it. As a matter of fact, let me try to see if I can get this here, because Simone said something that kind of, to me, I think hurts her brand, because they asked her, were you injured? And she said, kind of not really. Well, you see, to me, the only reason you're going to tap out on the Olympics or any type of championship competition is because, in fact, you're injured. There's something wrong with you. You just can't go. I get it. But in this case, it doesn't seem to be it. It was all about, she talked about things like the COVID and the pressure. And I'm like, look, man, we all have had to deal with that. And people have had to raise their kids. People have had to, they've lost jobs. They've lost homes. People have been under the threat of being thrown out of their apartment. So this idea of, we got pressure, I don't get it. I mean, that's how life is. I mean, life is going to have difficulties. Life is going to have you put into uncomfortable positions. So I just think that right now we're not doing a good enough job today of making sure that our athletes are not prepared to deal with the pressure of just, you know, life. So
That's the thing when you have parents that put their children in a bubble. And I've come across a lot of that where they think their child is just in a bubble and they're teaching them this and it's not helping them with life. You can try to put your child in a bubble and keep them from certain things, but once you get to life, life is going to happen. So it's best to just make sure that your children are prepared for life. And it just hurts my heart to hear that, because if you're in the Olympics, which is the best part of you, where you can compete for your country. I think there's nothing like it. I dreamed of playing for the USA team, for any of them.
right, right.
I would have been happy just being on a roster, not really, because I'm not that type. I do want to play. But
Right.
the point is, playing for Team USA is something that's phenomenal. And there's so few people that get that opportunity. And it really hurts my heart to hear that she is not competing. And it's not so much just because of her. I could see if it was an individual sport, that's one thing. But she's also on Team USA. And so she's letting down her teammates. And one thing that I'm big on is putting team before yourself. I've done it so many times in my life. And but at the same token, I'm not really sure what's going on with her. So I'm sure that she has a great reason. I do need to do more research before I can fully speak on it. But from what I'm hearing so far, she chose to remove herself because of her mental health.
Yeah, so let me see if I can kind of like pull up the page. We're gonna try to share this if we can. I'm gonna go to I think this is like it's on CNN, I believe it. So I'm gonna try to pull this up. Hopefully, all will work here and we can get this to work for us here. So I'm gonna try to share our page. Yep, we're gonna cross our fingers and see if we can make this work here. And again, we're going to go to the CNN page where it is. I'm going to say here, make sure to share the audio, because that's what happened last time. We couldn't get the audio up. So let's see if we can make it work this time as we attempt to share the screen. And we'll get it up on the screen here, and hopefully we can make it do what it do. Let's take a peek here. There it is. And I'm going to try to expand the screen, and then you guys can get a listen to Simone Biles as she talks about not being her best person to be able to go out there. Here she goes. So again, just so I'm not sure if we kind of got that here. I'm gonna try to go back again and pick that back up. But she's talking about the fact that she didn't feel that she could do her best. She did make some.
Yeah, I didn't hear any audio.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get that out of here. Yeah. So basically, what she was saying in the interview was that. Yeah, unfortunately, we were able to get that audio. But yeah, but she talked about a couple of things. She said, first of all, she wasn't injured. That's a red flag to me right there. The fact that you're not injured and you can't go. All right. The other thing she talked about, the pressure. All right. That's not an issue where we got a situation where, okay, I'm under, I need medication, or I'm going through some kind of severe trauma. She just said the pressure. And then she listed the things I mentioned, COVID, no fans in the stands, things that had nothing to do to me with her not being able to go and to perform. And especially, you hit it best. How can you tap out when this is not only your team, but your country? You're letting down your country. And oh, by the way, she has been the poster girl over all types of endorsements. I mean, are you going to now give that money back to these people because you say, I couldn't go and I was afraid to maybe injure myself. So again, don't get me wrong. She does some of the most spectacular, some of the most risky, high flying maneuvers that they do in, in gymnastics. So I can understand what she's saying. Okay, well, if I'm not on the top of my game, I don't want to go out here and get hurt. But that risk is there every time she takes the floor. The vaults, the jumps, at any point, Tree, we saw this with Trae Young. A simple step back on a referee's foot caused him to not be able to play at anywhere near his capacity for the rest of the series that the Hawks lost. So I don't get it.
For her to say that when I don't remember her name, Dominique Wilkins.
No, Dominique Dawes.
Dominique Dawes. I was going to say, no, that's basketball. Right. Yeah, thank you. But Dominique, wasn't she injured and she had to wrap up her ankle? And I remember her competing in the Olympics and she did the vault and she ran. And so she landed on one foot because her other foot was injured and was taped up, and she did a great score. And I want to say we won either the gold or the silver or something. But I just remember that playing in my mind when you were saying that she was scared of getting injured. But again, she knows her body. I'm not sure what's going on with her, right. But I have seen where gymnastic girls have competed wrapping up, and because they wanted to compete, there was nothing that was going to stop them from competing unless they were injured. So yes.
Look, that was Mary Lou Retton's claim to fame. She did the same thing, came down severely injured ankle. Dominique Dawes, other Olympic athletes have done it. We saw a situation where we had an Olympic athlete basically get so badly injured that his father had to run out. It might have been the Olympics. I think it was international track. His father had to basically take him under his arm and help him get to the finish line because he knew his son wanted to finish at all costs. So, I mean, again, I'm not trying to tell you go out here and severely injure yourself or maybe stop your career. But to me, it was a bad look. Bad look for her, bad look for the U.S. team, and bad look for the country as well. But, okay, listen, I tell you what's not a bad look. The Real Talk Sports Show, which you're watching right now, but we have to take a break. And taking a look, take a look at some of our sponsors. We'll be right back. Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net. All right, we're back here at the Real Talk Sports Show. Thank you for those of you watching us here. Again, we know that you guys are watching us on Facebook. You're on YouTube live. You're also on Periscope, which is Twitter TV. Appreciate those of you watching us also on Twitch as well. And big shout out to those people watching us live on the Roku channel via the Phoenix Entertainment Network and C-Room News and Entertainment Network as well. Let's go back to social media here. Let's pop it in right here. We have Donna Jones. He said, Kerry Strug was actually the gymnast who did the vault injured. It's a lot of pressure on these young athletes. So Miss Jones is kind of in both camps. First of all, correcting us about Kerry Strug. She was the one. And also, talking about she has some sympathy for these young athletes. Well, we want to go to a guy that he balances the best of both worlds. He's very, very involved in the sports world. He's been involved with 24/7 Sports. He was for a long time the beat writer of the Packers. He also now is involved with popculture.com, telling you all the things that are going along with pop culture. So I know he's got lots that have been going on in his life. We bring back to our show the one and only Brian L. Jones. Brian, welcome back, sir.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Man, good to see you, bro. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hanging in there. Staying busy.
All right. So speaking of staying busy, I know kind of like you cover, like you said, both the culture and sports. I'm going to ask you this first, and I should have mentioned this before with Tree, but I got to ask everybody. Okay, let me get my shades here so I can make sure I'm imitating him properly. Maybe I should put on the stocking cap too. What was up with what was it called? The Donna concert with Kanye West. Did you get a chance to cover that or see any of that bizarre stuff?
I didn't necessarily cover it, but I did see it. So Apparently, he's living in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and he was at the Atlanta United game wearing his mask, and no one really bothered him. So it's been pretty interesting. So I'm not really sure what's going on with Kanye. I heard it was a pretty good show he performed at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but more power to him. He's continued to do his own thing and have success with it.
Yeah, Trey, I don't know if you saw any clips of that, but it just, I mean, to me, I don't know, maybe because maybe it's another sign I'm getting a little older, but it was one of the most bizarre looking things I ever saw in my life. The guy had some kind of red pants, the kind of the puffy coat, and then look how he was going to rob somebody, put the stocking cap on over the head. I'm like, dude, it's not that serious. So again, we saw that, and I found that kind of interesting and kind of weird. Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get back to sports. All right, Brian, the Braves have had a tumultuous season. When I say tumultuous, they've had to deal with injury. They have to deal with Ozuna, a guy that really kind of was the energy of the clubhouse, being basically out for the year due to domestic violence with his wife. But they find themselves in second place and really still within striking distance of the Mets. What have you seen out of this club, and do you think they can make a legitimate run for postseason play?
I think they can make a run at the NL East. The problem with the Braves right now is they've just been inconsistent. I think ever since the All-Star break, they're 5-6. They're winning right now against the Mets 6-1. So they should be able to pick up a winner tonight. But it's just a matter of getting those win streaks together. It's just been like when they lose two, or they win two, they lose two. If they win three, they lose four. They have yet to get under or over 500. They've been at 500. I think the worst they've been is 5 games under, but they haven't. They're one of the few teams that haven't been over 500. So that's been a problem. And again, you mentioned it. The injuries have been a major issue. Marcell Ozuna, his off the field issues also been a problem. I think, of course, Ronald Acuna being injured for the rest of this season and probably the beginning of next season, that's been a big problem. So for everything the Braves have gone through, and the fact they're just a couple games under 500 and just 5 games behind the New York Mets for the NL East lead, it really goes to show you the depth and some of the talent that they have in some key areas. I think the starting pitching's been strong, even though you're down Mike Soroka, Ian Anderson's on the IL, and then Oscar Ynoa is on his way back, but he's been out for a few months. And then offensively, even though it's been struggling the last couple of games, you've gotten production under Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies. The new addition, Jock Peterson's done really well. Austin Riley's played great at the plate, and so has Dansby Swanson. So there's some things going pretty good for the Braves, but it's just a matter of being consistent and getting those win streaks together in order to make a run in the playoffs.
Another thing that kind of baffles me, and Tree, I'll ask you: Have you actually been to a game at Truist Park since the Braves have moved there?
I have not. I actually do want to go and have plans on going. Have not made it there yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I know every time I drive past, it just looks beautiful.
Well, Brian, I know you've been there, obviously covered many Braves games. I got a chance to cover, I think, 2 games, and also go just as, Joe Patron. And what shocks me about the Braves are they actually are a pretty good road team, but they seem to be kind of barely 500 at home. Why can't they seem to put things together in Truist Park, which, again, seems to be a park where, a lot of energy, great environment. What do you think the disconnect is?
It could be a number of things. I think with Major League Baseball, home field advantage doesn't play that big of a factor compared to what it is in the NBA and the NFL. But I also think the way Truist Park is set up, it is kind of a hitter-friendly ballpark. So you see more home runs there the most. And Braves, I think at one point, I'm not sure if this is correct now, but at one point they were leading the Major League in home runs. So that might play a factor into it. And then also it just could be a number of things. And I just think that when it comes to home field advantage, it just really doesn't play that much of a factor and in just in Major League Baseball. But I think as they get into the second half of the season, that might turn around. So again, it just goes back to being more consistent, being able to be consistent on offense, being able to get more production out of the bullpen. I think if they do those things, they'll be able to get that winning record or have a better record at home.
Well, certainly one of the key things for them kind of staying afloat is the stellar pitching from Charlie Morton. He's been really kind of a welcome addition to that squad. So look forward to, I think, the Braves to make a move. I think it's really simple. If they could get hot, get on like a 6 or 7 game winning streak, anything could happen with this team. But I'm going to be in it for the duration. So, all right, you Braves fans, just hang in there. Don't panic. You still got a great team. You got 2 All-Stars as your anchors in the middle of that lineup, Freddie Freeman and Ozzie Albies. So just, hang tight. So don't go nowhere. So speaking of hanging tight, we've been hanging tight, waiting for a conclusion of the Aaron Rodgers situation. Being a guy that has been in depth with the Packers for so many years, Brian, are you surprised at the rumors that they've put together some type of funky kind of control slash, freedom laden contract for Aaron Rodgers to come back for at least this year?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers did report to camp earlier today. He arrived in Green Bay last night. It's not clear if he'll practice with the team tomorrow because they're still working out some details to their agreement. And basically the agreement is, the main thing is he had 3 years remaining on his original deal, and the 2023 year has just been eliminated. I think, but what could happen is after 2021, he has more option when it comes to his future. So he could be traded after the 2022 or after the 2021 season, and then Jordan Love takes over in 2022. He can't. I think one of the other things is they can't place the franchise tag on him. So once he becomes a free agent, he's a free agent. He can play wherever he wants. And also, it looks like Randall Cobb will be coming back as the Packers are looking to make a big trade with the Houston Texans. I think that was something that Aaron Rodgers wanted. He had a great relationship with Randall Cobb when they were both with the Packers. Randall Cobb had his best year with the Packers in 2014, where he had over 1,200 yards and 14 touchdown receptions. So getting him back, he could be a solid number 2 behind Devontae Adams. And so it's really going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I think the fact that Aaron Rodgers is back, that means the Packers have a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl. Not so much get to the playoffs, but win the Super Bowl, because they have everything you need, whether it's Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, a great offensive line led by David Bakhtiari, an edge rusher in Darius Smith, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, and Jair Alexander, and a consistent safety in Adrian Amos. They have talent all over the field, and the fact that you have number 12 back under center, the Packers should do some big things in 2021.
Sounds like it, man. I mean, there's no question that we saw what his vibe was with Randall Cobb. And interesting, you mentioned Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams basically has been all in for Rodgers the whole time. So let me put this question up here. I'm going to ask this, and Tree, I'm going to let you kind of address this for just a second, and we'll go around here. Let's see. I hope this will pop up here. And let's see if we can get to work here. Let's see. There we go. Do you think today's professional athletes have too much control in team affairs as far as managing the team, personnel decisions? What do you think, Tree? Maybe a little too much control for today's athlete, or maybe just right?
Honestly, I think it depends on the athlete. So we see that Tom Brady has a lot of control, but had Tampa Bay not given him the control, there's no way they would have won the Super Bowl. So for some athletes, yeah, I think it's okay. But I think there's some athletes, they can't handle that, and they just need to focus on playing. So it just depends on who the player is. You have some players that have that capability to play and actually help coach and help recruit players. And then you have some players that may try it and it just doesn't work out great for the organization. So the organization just has to know who's on their team and if they are able to have that control or not.
Brian, what about you? You think today's guys, players have too much control? It doesn't have to even be football. You look at basketball, certainly we see what LeBron James has done over the years, and just seeing in other sports out our players getting more and more leverage.
Yeah, I have to agree with Tree. I think it does depend on the player. I think in certain situations, the players want to protect themselves as much as they can. And I think and going back to what Tom Brady situation is, he's been in the league for over 20 years, and he knows what works best for him and what doesn't. So I think one of the key things that he did was help bring Antonio Brown to Tampa Bay, and he was able to be a key contributor down the stretch and help to win the Super Bowl. And I think once Tom Brady was able to do that, you saw guys like Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson asking for, or just lending their own voice into personnel moves, what they want to see happen, because they're on the field day in and day out, and they know what's works best for that offense, for their team. So I don't think it's necessarily they're not getting too much control, because they know and they understand what's expected out of them. And I think in order for them to be able to advance and able to win championships, and this goes to NBA and Major League Baseball players as well. I think if you're a veteran and you're a star player and you've been in this business for many, many years, you understand what's expected of you and your team. So I think in order to, get to where you want to go, you have to speak out. You have to let the front office, let the coaches know this is what needs to happen, and this is what we need in order to get to the goals that we set at the beginning of the year. So I don't think it's too much, but I do think it's something to definitely watch out for in the next years or so.
Yeah, so I think that maybe everyone is getting a little bit too cool, a little bit too braggadocious on themselves. Everyone wants to be a general manager. Everyone wants to have player personnel control. I'm like, man, just get on the field, bro. I mean, don't be wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, I understand you want to have some input. If you are in a situation where you have a star receiver, you the receiver have put up big yards for years, you don't want to see a bad trade. You don't want to see something where, as a quarterback, where they strip you of offensive line and get all that stuff. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, I think now, I mean, this whole thing with Rodgers, it kind of, for me, took me a step back on him, because he was a guy that went through a tough time in Green Bay with trying to come up behind Brett Favre. Brett kind of wasn't interested in trying to help him go along at all. Then the whole I'm retired, not retired, I'm retired, not retired, coming back, that whole drama he had to go through. And you would think after going through that and seeing what almost a type of prima donna type attitude would do, I thought that he would be the first guy not to do anything like that. So that's why I was very disappointed, man. I just thought it was over the top. I mean, look, you got a problem like that. You should be able to hammer it out. You should be able to sit down behind closed doors and get it done. The idea you don't like the general manager, I get it. But that, to me, it was just a lot of nonsense. And all this posturing and all the comments on social media, I guess I was surprised that he went to that level. So for me, I just think that we got to take a little step back. I understand that the owners are making a ton more money than the players, but at some point, it's still your employer. I mean, we understand that, you people want to pay to see you, but you're still the employee, not the employer. That's the OG talking. Let me put my shades back on. Okay, because I know I might get some shade thrown at me. So I'm just trying to make sure. Well, speaking of that, let's do this. Let's go to a guy that actually played in the league. Also a fine HBCU grad, played for one of the most famous universities on the HBCU banner, Grambling Tigers. You've seen him on our show before. The one and only Clemente Gordon is back in the building. Clemente, are you there?
I'm here.
There he is. What's going on, sir? How you be?
It's been a long day.
Man, you got the look. He got his shades on too. Check him out. He's got his shades on. That's when the day is long for the OGs. They put the shades on.
Yeah, actually, these are glasses.
All right. Okay. Well, see, that's what happens when I have my shades and not the official reading glasses like this.
There you go.
Ooh, the world is clear to me now.
There you go.
I can see everything. Well, look, man, real quick, before we go to this break, what are your thoughts about, I put up before the idea, I think that professional players have too much control in, running the everyday, when I say everyday operations, personnel decisions, things like that?
I don't think they have too much control. I think some players know that, get that little diva syndrome. And a lot of players try to use a lot of, their status and their playing ability to their advantage. And it's not fair. I don't think it's fair to a lot of the fans. Like I heard you talking about the Aaron Rodgers situation. I mean, if you're on the contract and you don't want to be there, just play your contract out. And when it's over, leave. I mean, but he knows his worth, and he knows, he's very valuable to that team. So I think he kind of like took advantage of that situation. But the deal that they're supposedly hammering out for him, he just bought some time, and he really kind of came out. He bought it last year of his contract. They can't put the franchise tag on him. I mean, he really came out. Really, he just bought a year. I think he'll just go there for a year. Then he's definitely leave. I mean, I think he's definitely going there.
Seems like it. Tree, have you ever had the opportunity to play with somebody that seemed to be a bit of a diva?
I
Not including yourself. I'm just joking.
Well, no. I'm
just joking.
don't
Just
get me
joking.
wrong. I am a diva in the sense that I love to look nice, and I
Right.
love to look nice when I play. But I'm not a diva on the court or anything like that. Most people, when they come and see me play, they're actually shocked because I'm such a girly girl off the court, but on the court, I don't play anything close like it. So I will say, never me, but I have played with a young lady who, at one point, she was just really stubborn, and our coach, we always had to give eye contact, and he was very strict and big on discipline, and she would intentionally not look him in his eyes. And so we all had to suffer. We all had to run and do push-ups and things of that nature. So it is very frustrating because it does take away from the team, and it takes away from our goals and practice and things that we have to do. And of course, the coach is going to handle it because you have to get that player in line in order for everybody else to continue as a team. So it can be difficult with Aaron Rodgers and everything that he went through. It was a huge distraction for the Green Bay Packers. And so I'm curious to see how this season is going to go, because I do think that it is going to play a part in the way that they play this season. And I don't think that it's going to be positive.
Yeah, it definitely should be interesting, man. Anytime you have these kind of conflicts going on, I'm sure. Let's go back to social media here. Our good friend Todd, who's watching on YouTube, aka Affiliate Man, as he used to be on Periscope. This is what he says: "I'm tired of Rodgers. It's disturbing that his petty bickering with management, but most disturbing, he showed today wearing a man bun. See, Todd, that's very important for Todd. He was that man bun. I guess the hair is a problem for him. I don't know, but I guess that's for Todd. It's for Todd. It's the little things. It's the little things. So the man bun, that was the final straw for him. He said, "That's it. You cut off." But speaking of cut off, guys, we're not going to cut you off. We're going to take a quick little break again. You're watching the Real Talk Sports Show. Don't go nowhere, because we're going to go and talk a little history of Atlanta high school football. So you guys stay tuned for that. We'll be right back.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
My man JB Smooth, appreciate him. An outrageous comedian. I actually appreciate all those people who stopped with us. That's actually clips that we had from being on the blue carpet the last time the college football championship was played here in Atlanta. Unfortunately, it broke the hearts of Georgia fans, but great, fun event. And appreciate all those people that were able to pop in and give a shout out to the Real Talk Sports Show. So we showing them some mad love. All right. Yeah, so it's been kind of tumultuous here. Rodgers kind of doing his thing, acting a little crazy. It's been, I guess it's been all part of this conundrum of chaos that we've had in sports this year. So hopefully and prayerfully, as we get into football season, we can focus on football on the field and not so much off the field. Well, Clemente, I'm going to shift to you for a second. You have played and been around some great teams, but more importantly, some great coaches. So as a guy that actually was on our program about a year or two ago, we brought him on as he was honored with a stadium named after him. I'm talking about the legendary coach from Southwest DeKalb High School, Mr. Buck Godfrey. And he was supposed to be with us today, but he took a little ill. But Clemente, tell us a little bit about this iron giant of a man.
He's he's more than my high school coach. He's truly a great friend of mine, and he has been so influential in my life. And I just wanted to tell people, I hate that he couldn't be on tonight, but as we get older, things happen. And sometimes we don't feel as, some days are better than others. And he just woke up today and not feeling too well. But he did tell me to express to you all that he will be on the show soon. But I just want to tell a little story about him. And people say Southwest Cab uh, always had guys that were more athletic than everybody, or that were great athletes. I'll say that. But I disagree with that. I think Southwest Cab had guys that were athletic, like myself. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're a great athlete. To give you an example of that, me, Eric Jones, and Steve and Stanley Davenport, we grew up together in the Gresham Park baseball era back then, and we all ended up going to Southwest Cab. I played baseball and basketball. I never played football. And Eric Jones and Steve and Stanley Davenport were big football guys. So I come to practice with them. They tell me about the new coach. Come see the new coach. He's real cool. He's this. So I go up there, and they down the field practicing. On one end, of course, I'm up on the other end. Cheerleaders running around the track training. So that's where I'm at. I'm up on the other end, messing with the cheerleaders.
Tell the truth.
Yeah. So there are about 4 footballs that's at my feet. And Coach Godfrey tells Eric Jones, hey, go up there and get those footballs. So he see me up there. So he yelled up the field, about 55, 60 yards up the field. Hey, man, throw those balls down here. So I pick them up and just heave them down the field, turn around and start back doing what I'm doing. And I hear a guy, hey. And I turn around, this little short, bow-legged, running up, hey, you. And I'm turning around looking at him. I'm like, who you talking to me? And he's like, yeah, you. And I'm like, what's up? He said, what school do you go to? I said, I go here. He said, why are you not playing football? I said, I don't play football. I play baseball. And he said, what's your name? And I told him, he said, oh, you the baseball guy. I said, yeah. He said, you should come out and play football. I said, I'm not playing no football. I'm playing baseball. And he said, well, I can guarantee you a scholarship. I said, scholarship? Well, I'm not going to college when I leave. I'm going to pro. He said, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. He said, but I understand if you're scared. And I told him, no, I'm not scared. I just don't want to play. And he said, well, like I said, if you're scared, I understand. I said, once again, I'm not scared. I just don't want to play. He said, well, if you're not scared, go and get a physical and come out. So after practice, Eric Jones and them, trying to rip me up. Hey, come on, man. I don't have a backup. We'll start next year. So finally, I came out. Well, it was registration, and he saw me in the hall. He said, I told you were scared. I said, no, I'm going to get a physical right now. My mom outside. He said, where's she at? Let's go talk to her. From outside, he spoke with my mom. She took me to get a physical and brought me down. I knew nothing about football. Never played organized football in my life until I got in the 11th grade. Never. So, make a long story short, you can be athletic, but you got to have somebody to groom you and make you into a great athlete. And Coach Godfrey took me from in the 11th grade, my senior year, first team All-State, full scholarship, and he sent me to the only man that he wanted to see me do. First team All-State, blue chip athlete, scholarship to Grambling, being a draft pick in like 5 years, and I've never played football before in my life. So Coach Godfrey is more than a coach, man. He's a friend. He definitely is a disciplinarian. There was a time when all of the big-time coaches would come up to Southwest Cab, but he wouldn't let them speak with me. He told them plain out, no, if you're coming to talk to my quarterback, I'm not going to let you talk to him because you want to make him a tight end. And he's not a tight end.
Wow.
And that's what he said. He said, and I mean, that was probably one of the best decisions anybody's ever made for me. And I mean, I just hate that he couldn't be on here, but I just wanted to tell that story about his great. And he's so humble, man. And when he is on this show, he's going to talk very little about himself. I mean, you're going to try to get him to talk about himself, but he's going to throw that off and talk about the players and the other guys that he's coached. But he talks very little about himself. He's very humble, and he doesn't even realize what he's done and how many lives he's touched. And he really, really doesn't look at it like that. He always wants to do more. He's still that. He hadn't lost that itch now, to be honest with you. He hadn't lost that itch. He still want to get back in it. But of course, people get older and kind of slow down a little bit. But he still has the fight.
Well, Tree, I know it's right up your alley. He one of the things he said early was coach was a disciplinarian. I know that you play for coaches that are tough. How important is it to have a coach that's able to walk that fine line of being tough guy or tough gal in order to get the most out of their players?
I think it's the most important thing in the world when it comes to coaching. One thing that you'll notice about great teams and championship teams is that they're disciplined. There's so many athletes and so many teams, that forget about that one word and it makes all the difference. So if you have players and they're running suicides and they're not touching that line, they may miss it by this much. That's huge, and it makes a difference. And that little discipline is really big, and it's going to carry over, because then when you're tired, you're not really going to go all out. If you're playing volleyball, you're not going to go up for the block or really go for the kill. If you're playing football, you're not going to really give your all and really give the stiff arm when you're trying to go and score. And so you have to have discipline. And when you're hurting and when you feel like you can't go anymore, that coach is the one who pushes you to let you know, hey, guess what? You can go a little further. That's why I always say that I give 110% on the court, because people say, oh, you can't do more than 100. You can, because we always feel like, okay, I can't go any further. But guess what? You can push a little more, and that's that other 10%. So having a coach that's a disciplinarian is really huge, and it made all the difference in my life.
Brian, for you, of all the coaches that you've had a chance to cover being in the media, what coach to you kind of fit the bill closest to that as far as being a disciplined guy or gal, whichever, but still been able to get good production out of the team?
Well, I'll actually go back to my old high school coach, Ed Dudley at Walton High School. He now coaches at Winder Barrow. And what he was able to do, and he was, when I started playing football for him, he was with the team for a couple of years. And Walton at that time, Walton is a good football program now, but back then, going into the 90s, it was kind of struggling a little bit. And we were a group that wasn't too athletic, wasn't the strongest, wasn't the fastest. But our senior year, we were able to come together and finish the year 9-1 and win the region championship for the second time in school history. And a lot of it had to do with what Coach Dudley taught us, and being that disciplinarian and making sure we gave everything we have on the football field, because we had to. We had to work twice as hard in order to be one of the top teams in the state. And even after I left and he was able to coach Walton for another 10 years, they became a powerhouse. They were able to go to the state semifinals. And even when he left, they reached the state championship in 2011. And he was able to have success in other places, whether it was Carrollton, whether it was Ware County, and now he's trying to do the same thing in Winder Barrow. So, and I try to keep it in contact with him, try to keep up with him, what he's doing. And his oldest son is now an assistant coach with him. So, Coach Dudley has been a big influence on my life, whether it was in football or just in my career in sports medium and journalism.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That discipline that you learn in football under these great coaches, it really translates to life lessons. I mean, going all the way back in the 60s, the guy whose name was on the trophy for the Super Bowl, Coach Lombardi, there was I think it was Jerry Kramer when he wrote his book, and they asked about how, Coach Lombardi was as far as treating the players. And he said, no, he treats us all the same, just like dogs. So, I mean, but that's what he said. But, the interesting thing is all of these guys, afterwards, you look at the guys that played on those great Packer teams in the 60s, almost all those guys were able to be a great men of impact or down the road, whether it's been their linebackers, the defensive ends, all those guys that played on those teams, Ray Nitschke, Robinson, all those different players, they went on to have, in many cases, great impact in life. And they all talked about the fact that how they learned life lessons. And I think that's what all you guys have said to me tonight is that, you want a coach to be able to impart things that you can take with you off the field as well as on the field, because that's what builds men and women.
It is. A lot of people don't understand that it's really about off the court, off the field that makes all the difference. Yes, you want to be a great athlete, but that's supposed to carry over into life. You want to be a great human being. You want to be a great person. You want to be punctual. And that's why when you're an athlete, you learn so many great things. And so I know that everybody else is giving their coach a shout out. So I just want to say my coach name is Coach Dave Mann. Everybody in Michigan knows about him. We won the state championship for Bishop Borges 3 years in a row. We three-peated, and he is just phenomenal. Had Miss Basketball. He was Coach of the Year. I actually had a very long conversation with him yesterday. And it makes me smile because he still to this day is trying to get me to move back home to Michigan so that I can come and coach with him. And I think that's such an honor. No, don't worry, it's not happening. But and he knows it. But I love that he still wants me to come and work with him. That just says to me how much I mean to him and how proud of me he is. So it just really touches my heart. But as you said, it's about life lessons and about life skills. And that's the great thing about sports and having great coaches that can impart that into their players.
There's no doubt. And Clemente, listen to your story. If you're filling the gaps, guys, what he was telling you is he went from being a guy that basically just basically was a guy that never played the sport. And within 5 years, he was a four-year starter at Grambling, Clemente?
2 years started at Grambling.
3 years started at Grambling, and actually got drafted by the Cleveland Browns, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's pretty good in the span of 5 years to go from that to, not playing the sport at all to being able to play in the NFL, which, that's as good as it gets. Very, very few people even get drafted at all. So, yeah, man, that's just a powerful thing. Like I said, Coach Godfrey, we had him on before. Great guy, great man. Tree, and I think everybody else here, I believe you also know, it's not a secret here in Atlanta, but his daughter is Rashawn Ali. And one of the things that coach did was he, I think, was also a great swimming coach. And yep. And a lot of people don't know Rashawn was a top swimmer here in high school. One of the few early African-American athletes, either male or female, that were swimming at such a high level. And of course, we see the discipline and impact as she continues to apply her trade in our business. As a matter of fact, now I follow her on social media. She's now gotten into bodybuilding. So
yes. I saw those medals that she won at her first competition.
Yeah, but I'm sure again that's the discipline of having underneath a guy that really taught about doing things the right way. And the other thing a lot of people don't know is that he was also a gifted student of English literature. The man was absolutely brilliant in that arena. So yeah, he was really a true Renaissance man. So we hope that he'll be able to feel better. Coach, if you're peeking in on us, either live or hopefully watching some of the replay, we love you, man. Appreciate all the stuff you've done for everybody, especially though the young men and young women you had a chance to coach here in Metro Atlanta. So I'm gonna give a shout out to our good buddy Tyrone Poole. He was having some transportation issues, switching planes and so forth. He's just texted me saying he can pop on for a second. So Tyrone, if you can hear us, you can come on in, brother. I know you'd like to kind of say a few words. He's always a inspirational guy that we have on the show. Real quick, just talk of transition really quickly. The Globetrotters, I think I mentioned earlier, I had a chance to go check them out. They were actually, the theme of their event was hashtag HBCU homecoming and hashtag spread game. So it's pretty cool that they had a lot of the students from HBCUs were there. A lot of them gave testimonies to, what made the difference for being an HBCU. Clemente, since you did that, and of course, Tyrone did as well, kind of tell us really quickly in the final minutes, kind of how it impacted you, especially going to a legendary place like Grambling.
Like I said on the last show, I wouldn't have, if I had to do it all over again, I would do it the same way. Grambling taught me a lot of life lessons, how to be a man, how to stand on your own. Like Ms. Dawn was talking about the discipline, playing under Coach Eddie Robinson. I heard her mention something about running suicides. And what a lot of people need to understand when you're talking about sports and discipline, the biggest part of that is your training. And if you go through the training and willing to pay the price and train and have that discipline right there, everything else is going to fall in line with your mental and your physical is going to fall in line. If you're willing to pay the price with the training. And I learned that throughout, and I talk to my kids about that. Sometimes I'm kind of hard on them because I have girls, but I try to tell them the real deal about being disciplined and what to look for and what not to look for, and just staying focused. And that's one thing when I'm with them, Coach Eddie Robinson and Coach Godfrey taught me how to stay focused on what you're trying to do, your goals, and just trying to reach them. You may have, some obstacles may come up. You might get knocked down, but get back up. Keep it moving.
Now, Clemente, how old are your daughters?
12 and 29.
Okay, now, see, me being the father of a grown woman, I heard some code in there. He said he said discipline and knowing what to look for. What he's talking about is knowing not to, have no busters, having some pros and not no amateurs. That's what he's saying. And in case they need help, that he's lurking around the shadows to make sure they help them make them wise decisions. I'm with you, brother. Yeah, you got to take care of your daughters, no doubt. I see he's in the building here, so I'm gonna see if I can get him out of the green room. Tyrone Poole, are you there, sir? Tyrone, are you there? I hear somewhere. Tyrone, Earth to Tyrone.
Well, I'm
Hello.
here. I don't know how good. I'm here. I don't know how good you guys can hear me.
We can hear you good. We have another fellow HBCUer in the building. Clemente Gordon from Grambling is with us as well.
Yeah, you guys going to probably hear some funny noises in the background here. I'm actually traveling. I got the family and we're traveling, but I could not miss the Real Talk Sports Show, so I had to tune in even while I'm traveling. How about that?
Okay, Tyrone.
That's
Well, we
how
got the
real
full.
it is.
Yep, we got the full crew. We have, of course, the Queen is here. We have Brian Jones making his return back to the building, and of course, Clemente Gordon, who joined us a couple of months ago. Appreciate everybody in the building. So we were talking about the experiencing of coaches. So we'll get your input on this real quick. Who were the two coaches that kind of impacted you the most in your career as an athlete, and maybe even made some input for you as a man? Tyrone?
Yeah, you had to probably repeat that again. You were breaking up on me.
All right, no worries. So I was asking the question we asked earlier, what coach or coaches had the most impact on you, both in terms of performance on the field and also being a man. Well, all right. I guess that didn't work. Let's go to social media. Let's go to our good buddy Todd. And Todd asked, he's talking about the Falcons. Falcons off to a great start. He was actually addressing this to Mr. Poole. He said Calvin Ridley entered the facility today with no boot on. So that's certainly some good news. Brian, let me hit you up. I know, like I said, you cover a lot of the NFL. What are your thoughts on the Falcons' ability to be a decent team in 2021?
Yeah, I think they have a legitimate shot. I think the one thing that benefits them this upcoming season is their schedule is not as difficult as it has been in the past. They're facing a lot of teams that struggled last year. I think they're going to be facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is one of the teams that not expected to do a whole lot, but I think with the new coaching staff, especially with Dean Pease as defensive coordinator, I think they'll be much improved. The roster itself isn't that great. They still have some holes to fill. So we'd like them to add a couple pieces, maybe a veteran edge rusher. But I think the addition of Mike Davis, who's a local guy, I think he'll be a really key addition for the Falcons offensively. And I think the biggest thing is if they can run the ball consistently and effectively, then the offense will be very beneficial. Because if you look at Matt Ryan's best years, they've been able to run the ball really effectively. Even the 2016 year where they won, when he won MVP, the use of Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman was really big. And then his rookie year when he won Offensive Rookie of the Year, Michael Turner, who's one of the top free agent signings the Falcons ever had, he had a monster year. So running the football is going to be key for the Falcons moving forward. And I think if they're able to get any of a pass rush, and I think Dean Pease will do some things to where they can create their own pass rush. I think that will really help them moving forward. So they have a legitimate shot. I think, again, with the easier schedule and the fact they're going to be committed to running the football with Arthur Smith as the head coach, I think they can do some big things in 2021.
Well, Tree, I already know what your whole thing is about defense. Your husband, speaking of edge rusher, was an edge rusher right here with the Falcons towards the tail end of his career. Obviously, a Hall of Famer and all-time greats. How important is it the Falcons get some type of pass rush out of that front line, whether it be Grady and hopefully revitalize Deidre Sanat, maybe to give him some push up the front?
I'm so happy that you said that. You knew exactly what I was thinking because that's what I was just about to say. I think that, yes, offense will be great, but what the Falcons really need, they really need that defense. They really need someone who is going to put a hurting on the quarterbacks. They really need someone who is going to sack and just bring havoc on the field. And that's what we need. We can have a great offense, but if we can't stop teams, then the offense is really not going to make a big difference. Defense wins games, defense wins championships, and that's why I'm so huge on defense. And I really want to see what the defense is going to do this year. That's what I'm going to be looking for from the start of the season, is seeing defense. And hopefully defense has improved, because I think that will be the big game changer.
Clemente, you can tell she was married to a Hall of Fame defensive end, bro. Because, I mean, you see them eyes light up. She's talking about, oh, yeah, sack them, get them down to the ground. Well, now, as a guy that was on the other end of that, as a quarterback, how disruptive is that when you have that pressure coming at you when you're trying to, get your plays run?
It's very disruptive. And let me say this first of all. When I was a rookie, with the Cleveland Browns, we played the Minnesota Vikings. For some reason, I got in the game late, and for some reason, Chris Bowman is still in the game, and he came through that. He could have killed me, but he just really kind of laid off me. And when I'm on the ground, he told me I ain't gonna hurt you. He said a little more. And I was so happy about that. But as a quarterback, when you got a pass rushing guys always on your feet, or every time you throw, even if you throw the ball, or every time you throw the ball, someone hits you. Someone just put their hands on it. I mean, it disrupts your whole mental process for the next play, for the next series. I mean, all that. So, and I would agree with her. They need to. She said the statement she just made was put a hurting on the quarterback. You don't even have to hurt him. The Falcons just need to get to him. I mean, just get to the quarterback. Just get to him. I mean, just get to him and hold him down. Like, you don't even have to really hurt him. Just get to him. I agree with her, but I was something to get back up to the quarterback.
Spoken like a true quarterback. He said, don't hurt him now. Just put him to the ground. Let's get back to Todd on social media. He's talking about running back Davis. He said, does he have anything left in the tank? He only had 660 yards from scrimmage last year. Well, I mean, Mike Davis is a guy who's got plenty in the tank. I think he's only 28 or 29 years old. As you pointed out, Tree, a local guy here in Atlanta. I think what sold the Falcons on him, even though it's a different regime, when he came here with the Panthers, I think he had like 170 yards of total offense, something like that here, put on the show here in Atlanta. So I think it's going to be it. The guy that I've been talking about for the last 2 years, I think is going to be the unsung difference here on the team. I'm talking about that bull of a man from the University of Pittsburgh, Quadri Allison. I think that he's going to make some impact if he gets the ball. And you're probably saying, Minister, why Quadri Allison? Because before last year, when they decided to use him from time to time, this guy had 23 touches. 7 of those touches went for touchdowns, and I think another 4 or 5 more went for first downs. So more than half of his carries were productive, either in terms of moving the change or getting the Falcons to the end zone. So that's a guy I'd like to see. I'd like to see him kind of use that double bull attack. We saw the Panthers use that a few years ago, where they had, 2 guys. I'm trying to think of their names. I just drew a blank. But they had a couple of guys that really just could run the ball in between the tackles and give you that occasional breakaway on the outside. So, yeah, I think Quadri Allison is going to be kind of a guy that's going to have a bigger impact than maybe a lot of people think. And, of course, you're going to have to get an almost rookie of the year type of performance out of the guy that you drafted, the highest drafted tight end in the history of the NFL, Kyle Pitts. So
I think with Kyle Pitts, it's funny because they came out with Madden ratings, and Kyle Pitts is graded as the highest rookie. It's funny because when you look at tight ends, rookie tight ends especially, they don't necessarily start off that fast. It takes a year 2 or year 3 to really develop. But with Kyle Pitts, with someone who is just a freak of an athlete, like he can line up as a wide receiver. He could easily get 75, 80 receptions this year and be that number 2 option behind Calvin Ridley. He's that type of an athlete. So even though, as I mentioned, rookie tight ends don't start necessarily that strong, I think it's going to be different for Kyle Pitts because he's going to be utilized a lot. They're going to line him up in different places. They're going to make sure to get the ball to him. So it's going to be really exciting to watch him in action.
So, Clemente, as a quarterback, when you're looking at the fact that you got a guy that basically is almost like a Calvin Johnson on steroids, and then you also have a guy, Hayden Hurst was the number 1 draft first-round draft pick a few years ago, and of course Calvin Ridley apparently come back from injuries. I mean, how much would you be salivating as a quarterback knowing you got those kind of weapons to throw to?
I mean, that's easy money right there. I think I think the Falcons will probably use Kyle Pitts in the sense like the Patriots used to use the fellow guy from Florida, Hernandez. They'll spread him out wide and still have another tight end in the game because Hayden Hurst is a beast also. So I mean, I think the Falcons will use him the same. It's going to be a matchup problem. He's going to definitely be a matchup problem for the team. And if we give Matt the time to throw the ball, I mean, I think they can do big things.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see, another thing you're going to see with the Falcons, you're going to see jumbo sets where they're actually going to be running 3 tight ends. You remember they brought in a blocking tight end. I think he played for the Titans for a while. You'll see Hurst line up as a true tight end, and you're probably going to see Pitts being used even as a slot receiver in those type of setups, and that's going to give Matt Ryan the ability to really almost do anything. All those guys, you have those jumbo. I don't have to tell you, Clemente, when you have those jumbo lineups, you know you can run the ball, especially if you got some backs that can kind of get you north to south, and then the ability to kind of, have, even if you're under pressure, be able to throw the 2 big tight ends that can go up and get the ball. Yeah, I just think the Falcons are going to be able to do some work. Let's go back to social media, and let's see the comments we have there. I think we have Todd, our good buddy. Let's see what he has to say. He said, I think that the Falcons season really comes down to one thing. Can we get back the cleats from the kicker that was stolen the other day? He was in a panic, and kickers.
Yeah.
My man. Todd affiliate man always knows how to bring it back to where it's supposed to be. So is this what's the name? Young
Wei Koo. Yeah.
Young Wei Koo. And I should know it's because I have a guilty confession. The pandemic brought on a terrible habit on the minister. I found myself now addicted to Korean nighttime soap operas. So if anybody should have pronounced Young Koo properly, it should have been me. I'm just saying. So yeah, I've become quite the addict of those programs, subtitles and all. I don't even care if they speak in English. I read the subtitles and I'm good. So, Young Koo, I hope they find your cleats because a kicker's head has to be always in the game. So we want to do right. Well, speaking of the Falcons and what they're up against, if you look around the NFC, looking around the NFC South, Drew Brees is gone. Tom Brady is back. Carolina, what they have. Speaking of Tom Brady, did you guys see the Instagram video of him throwing the ball back into the jugs machine? Did y'all see that?
Yes,
I did.
Tree's like, nah, that's it. When you get a chance,
No, only because, like I told you, I've been working with my code camp and getting all that stuff going. So I've really been in the computer all week, but I will check it out.
Yeah, literally. And Clemente, that, I mean, to throw the ball back in the jug gun, that, I mean, you got to be pretty accurate and you got to put a little zip on the ball because otherwise it would kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to whip it. I mean, you got to have a pistol to throw it back in the machine.
Right.
It was almost kind of unbelievable. But,
yeah, I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Could we have a Michael Vick throw it out of the stadium kind of thing going on? Remember that? Yeah. Remember that commercial throw out of the stadium?
Oh yeah.
Right.
The Larry Bird or the Michael Jordan over the rail under the canopy and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Okay, let's go one more time to Todd, affiliate man here. And this is what he says. He says,
That was fake.
Okay. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I mean, here's what I'm gonna say about Tom Brady. Again, he's another guy that kind of transitioned a little bit because there was a weird article. Yeah, let me put my glass back on. I'm about to do some shade. I think Tom is doing some supernatural shenanigans. Because the other thing too is, if y'all seen him, like he kind of looks different now with the hair, kind of have like his skin looks a little different.
He looks happy.
What'd you say?
He looks happy.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah,
He looks loose. I mean, that's the other thing too. He real loose. I mean, that corporate Tom is gone.
Yeah,
I don't know. He got down with the brothers down in Tampa, but Tom's a whole different guy. I mean, he got sloppy drunk on a boat, didn't care. He been talking a lot of smack. He just did some. Go ahead, Clemente. What you say?
He was City.
Yeah, man. I mean, he just like, look, every year I got a bonus. I'm gonna tell you all the truth. Like they were asking about, speaking about other players. He said, "Look, can I tell you something?" He said, "I always would say about a player like a defensive back, oh that guy, like he's really good." He said, "That's what I would say to the public." He said, "But secretly I was saying, oh, I'm gonna light him up." I was like, "Oh, for real?" I mean, so Tom's got a whole different vibe going on. Like I said, I don't know what's in the water down in Tampa, but Tom is wilding out. So I don't know. The other thing too is I heard Tom's wife say that she is a witch, and
Wait,
that
what?
you go okay.
Did you say that his wife says she's a witch?
A witch told Tom he said they were asking why he's so successful, and he said, "Oh yeah, my wife basically does these incantations. Told me I got to put these stones together, and she told me I got to follow everything that she says." He said, and once I started doing that, because think about this, Tom, if you look at his career, he's done as much or more since he's been 35, almost matching what he did up until that point. I mean, he's doing stuff at 35 and plus that you're not supposed to do. No disrespect to Peyton Manning, but Tom he actually has more zip on the ball than he did 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, but I think that says a lot about his conditioning and his training. I mean, he's big on eating right and working out and conditioning. I don't know about the witch part, but I think he's
Man, I wish I could hear. I can't hear you, Clemente.
Yeah, you got to speak up a little bit, bro, on that mic. We kind of getting you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Hear you better now. Yep, we doing good. Yep, say that one more time.
Okay, I said I think that attests to his conditioning and his training, and because I've read that he's big on what he eat, on eating right and living right and eating right and exercising, and he does that year round. A lot of guys take time off, in the off season and just kick it for a couple months and then try to get back in shape. I heard he does it year round. So I don't know about the witch part, but I agree with I think he just takes care of his body.
Yeah, I think he learned that at Michigan too. Just wanted to say.
Oh.
Gotta throw that in. Huh?
Here we go again. That Michigan. Todd says that of course he'd be happy. He's got 7 Super Bowls. Okay, that makes you happy. He said we, as Falcons fans, we drunk down at the 28-3 bar. He had to go right there. Lord have mercy. Todd, you're not a nice man.
I think it's that Florida sunshine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get that vitamin D in your system.
Yeah, like I said before, Ybor City, that can't hurt either. Down there in Tampa, Ybor City.
I don't know about that. I
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Ybor, is that like a town nearby? Is that something?
It's an area.
Or area.
Yeah,
okay.
It's an area down there. Yeah. Ybor City.
All right. Well, anyway, we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna go around the corner about that. But yeah, but definitely there's no question. I mean, you go from New England, where it's, I'm from New England originally. It's a little bit stuffier. You get really cold in the wintertime. You got to worry about those December home games where you need to be at home to get to the championship, but it's cold, it's snowy. When you get tackled, the ground is stiff. But now he's in Tampa Bay where it's sunny all the time, bright sunshine, water nearby. And so at the end of the day, who wouldn't want to do it? Don't we all want to retire where it's warm and sunny? Of course we do. So Tom is saying, I've already got my retirement thing laid out and he's good to go. So yeah, I think the Falcons, like we mentioned earlier, I think they have a shot to compete because really in looking at the division, obviously Tampa Bay is the big dog, but the other two teams really don't scare you because they have questions at quarterback. As much as people throw shade at Matt Ryan, he's not a question at quarterback. You know what you're going to get from him if he gets protection. He's a guy that's a 30 TD, 10 interception, 4,500 yards. And that dog will hunt all day. So, at the end of the day, if the Falcons can protect him, if they can do as Ms. Dolman asked to get some pressure on the opposing quarterback, I'm going to stand by my prediction. Falcons record for upcoming year, 10-7. I'm just saying. So I'm going to go around and ask everybody else. Brian, what do you think Falcons record will be 2021? What do you think?
I think the ceiling will be 10-7 and then maybe 9-8. I think, again, it goes back to their schedule not being too difficult. If they start off the season with the Philadelphia Eagles, they should be able to win that. And then The London game's obviously going to be interesting. They're going to have some pretty interesting games throughout the year, but again, if they're able to get pressured defensively, the defensive secondary is able to improve. They actually did a good job stopping the run last year, so I think they should be able to do that again this year. And they're able to run the football. I think if they do all those things, then they should be able to win 10 games this year.
Tree, how about you?
I think I'm gonna go with 8 and 9.
Oh, have mercy. All right. Clemente, how about you, bro?
I'm more around. I'm gonna say this. I'll say 9 and 8, between 9 and 8 or 10 and 7. But if their coach implements, if he's definitely a run first coach. But if he also doesn't lose sight of the hurry up with Matt Ryan.
Right.
Is the best quarterbacks would hurry up in the game. If he doesn't lose sight of that, they could be 11 and 6.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm giving you a hand, Clemente, is because you are the only person who has come on this show and talked about the fact that the Falcons don't use the hurry up enough with Matt. I've been saying that for years. That's what made him Matty Ice.
That's what made him Matty Ice. And
he's the fact that
top 5 in the league.
Right. And Brian, you've seen it. He's much better operating and up tempo. Now I asked him that question in the press conference a couple of times. He always told me the same thing. Well, we can't run it the whole game, and I'm not asking to run it the whole game. It's a change of pace. When the Falcons were doing it right, it was devastating because all of a sudden, man, Clemente out of this, off that tempo, you come out there, bam, break. You come out, man, get up, hike, you're moving, and all of a sudden the defense is back on its heels.
Yeah, they don't get a chance to react. You don't give the defense a chance to react. You don't give the coaches on the other sideline a chance to make adjustments. You just got to come with it.
Right.
And Matt Ryan is one of the best in the league, and I hope the new coach keeps it, in his plan. I hope he does.
Well, I'm so too, like I said again, especially with the weapons he has, with Cal Pitts, I think that you get a hurry up, you get a couple of slants. This guy, he's the type of player like Julio, a 7-yard slant can turn into a 70-yard touchdown pass.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we'll be able to utilize that. Well, guys, as always, the time has rocketed by us. But anytime we have guests on the show, even our co-hosts, we always do the same thing. We like to let people know how they can find out more about them. And before we're going to do that, we're going to go here one more time to Todd and social media. Let's pop it up here. Hold on a second. This is for me. He said, preacher, what have you seen last 2 years from Matt? That says that dog will hunt. Matt Ryan ain't got any more. His confidence is gone. Well, Todd, to answer your question directly, sir, the bottom line is that obviously when you have come off of the 28-3 fiasco, when you come off a situation where you were this close away from knock off a team that later went on to the Super Bowl the very next year, and then you see that vaunted running game just disappear and you get sacked, I think it was 48 times last year, something like that, of course your confidence would be a little shaky.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Dude, if I sack you 48 times, Todd, I think your confidence would be a little shaky. I don't care what you was doing. So, at the end of the day, I think that Matt's got something left. I think that he'll show us that if they can be able to do that. Hold on a second. He says he doesn't need him a drink now.
Yep.
I done got him to hit the liquor. The preacher got him to go hit a little something, a little brandy before we go. All right, Let me go here. Brian Jones, the floor is yours.
I appreciate it. My name is Brian Jones. I'm a sports and entertainment writer for popculture.com. You can find all my work at popculture.com or popculture.com/sports. Got a lot of great stuff coming up. And I've recently done a lot of great stuff. I interviewed John Randall, NFL legend, and former NFL tight end Vernon Davis. So be sure to check those out. Once again, that's popculture.com, popculture.com/sports. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's at Brian Jones _93. And I also have a podcast. It's called Always Football Season. You can listen to it wherever you get your podcast. Again, that's Always Football Season. I also have a Facebook page. It's called Always Football Season. And then my Instagram is at Brian_L_Jones.
And notice I put that on the screen, y'all, so you can see it right there. Well, Brian, we appreciate you, brother, and we look forward to having you back on again real soon. Take care, and God bless.
Thank you so much for having me. See you guys later.
Bye.
All right, Clemente Gordon, the floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Clemente Gordon. Me and my wife have a nonprofit organization called Gordon's Gifts. Although the COVID has kind of slowed it down a lot, we're still making strides and trying to get back to feeding a lot of people in different communities. But you can reach me at Clemente underscore Gordon 9. That's on Instagram, Clemente underscore Gordon 9. And stay tuned for more events coming up.
And there it is, Gordon's Gift right there. You can find out more about them. That's their nonprofit organization. Well, Clemente, man, until the next time, we're gonna do some more what we call Real Talk Sports Review, taking a look at some of the legendary guys that have gone on here in Atlanta and also in HBCUs as well. So we look forward to having you being a part of that segment. Till next time, bro, be blessed.
All right, rest in peace, St. Pat.
All right, the queen herself, Miss Flea Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I first off would like to thank everybody that registered for our Making a Better Me first code camp that we're doing this year. And I also want to give a huge shout out to UPS, who is our sponsor. So thank you so much. We would not be able to do this without you. You can find me on social media at It's Latresa and also Ms. America International 2020. I'm so excited for all of the things that I'm doing with my crown this year, and I'm so blessed to still be Miss America International. And so please follow me on social media to see all of the wonderful things that we're doing to give back to others in the community.
There you go, guys. And you got it right there on the screen in case you can't see it. It's Latricia and at Ms. America International 2020 in purple because she's the original Purple Diva.
Yay!
All right, guys. I am, in fact, a real live minister. I appreciate you guys for joining us here. And before you go, I always like to do the same thing I do each and every week. First of all, if you want to follow me, follow the show, please. Follow us right here. Let's pop it up on the screen. Let's see where we are. Bam! There it is. No, wrong one. Boom. There we go. I always do the wrong one. We have Real Talk Sports 7. You can follow the show, or you can follow me personally at Minister J Simmons. That's Minister J and then SIMM, and J is just the letter J. You also, if you'd like to contact us, you can contact me directly, jsimmons@realtalksports.net, or you also can just give me a call on the cell, 678-410-9833. We would love to connect with you in any way, shape, or form, especially if you have a person that is doing great things in the world of sports. We'd love to have them on, whether they be a coach, whether they be a player, even whether they be a supporting parent. We'd love to do it. Speaking of support, listen, guys, if you don't have a relationship with God, I'm telling you, this crazy day we're in today, you have to do it. How do you do that? You have to believe that his son, Jesus Christ, came, died for you, and rose from the dead. And when he did that, he gave you the ability to have salvation for free. And so what does salvation mean? Well, it means two things. Number one, you now become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, you become an adoptive child of God and have all the rights therein. What does that mean? That means, number one, once you confess them, all of your sins from the past, your current sins, even the ones you commit in the future, can all be wiped away when you ask God to forgive you. Why? Because Jesus died for you and he rose from the dead. Number two, you get a chance to live a life well lived, not problem-free, but well lived because you're part of God's plan. And last but not least, extra bonus, you get to go to that spectacular place called heaven, a place where there's no pandemic, no pain, no problems, no bad people. It's sunshiny all the time because the glory of God illuminates the place. And guess what? You never die. It's just good times all the time. And you avoid that unhappy place called hell, where all the things that are in heaven will not be in hell. So you have bad people, you have pain, it'll be horrible, it'll be dark, and you'll be separated from God forever and a day. And I don't know about you, but I like option number one instead of option number two. All right, it's time to go. Well, Tree, we appreciate you as we do, and we appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, God bless you and good night.
Bye.